Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome back to those of you who have been here before. My name's Colette and my channel is Inspiring Life Changes, and the reading that I'm doing today is for this full moon that is taking place in the sign of Aquarius. It has taken place earlier today and it's a rather huge energy, this Aquarius full moon, because of the fact of where it's taking place and the planets that are also involved with that energy as well. So this isn't the astrology reading, so I'm not going to go too heavily into the astrology. So if you're interested in the astrology, there is a link in the description box down below for you to go and check that out, like your own personal astrology, if you're interested in finding out more for yourself. My astrology read will be going up as well if you're interested in having a look at that and see my personal interpretation, my intuitive interpretation of what is taking place at the time of this Aquarian full moon. But the reading that I'm doing today is for the collective. It's a tarot reading rather than an actual astrology reading for the collective of this Aquarius full moon. So I'm going to start the reading off with the energy of this moon itself. And we have, of course, the full moon energy, which is all about surrendering, letting go. Full moons are always about releasing something. It's a culmination of something, so it's time to let something go, time to release an energy and to allow something new into our life, of course, because after the full moon we have the new moon, so it's where the moon starts to wane. And we have the fixed energy here for the moon because it's in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed moon sign, or a fixed sign should I say. So it is saying hold your vision. And because it's a fixed sign, it is about holding something, holding it, like staying true to something, staying with it, holding that vision, not allowing it to kind of be what's the word I'm looking for? Not allowing it to be, brain's gone quite dead at the moment, not allowing it to be taken away from you, like changed. Don't change what you're feeling or what you're wanting at this time. Hold on to whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve. And lastly, we have the actual Aquarius full moon card, which is saying show the world the real you, which is very important at this time. And I also talk about that in my actual astrology read as well, about your integral, individual, unique self and how important that is going to be as we move forward more into this Aquarian energy that is moving in. So the card that I'm starting the reading off with today is from the Celestial meditation deck, and we have the Sri Yantra Mandala, and it is the Om energy here, and it's saying Sri Yantra is the tantric energy of creation. It reveals the ultimate interconnection of opposites, emptiness and form, spirit and matter, male and female. Meditate upon the sacred union of the father and mother manifest in this material world and the true dynamic equilibrium. Also, it's interesting as well because not only is it like the mother and the father, but it also talks about, for me, how everything is either a positive or a negative, so it relates to the masculine and the feminine energy. It's the way that magnets attract is because one's a positive and one's a negative, whereas if you have the two of the same, they will repel each other. So in nature there is something there about it being, having to be one way or the other in order for that attraction to take place on that level. and also radiating at the heart of all existence will be revealed. So manifesting the material world and the true dynamic equilibrium radiating at the heart of all existence will be revealed. So that's also about that balance as well. Heal from the illusion of separateness and alienation. Contemplate on the image of divine connection and know you are not alone. And the word that is here is inseparability, which is very much Aquarian moon energy as well, because Aquarius is all about that collective consciousness. It's all about the interconnectedness of everything, and how although we need to be, like it's saying here, unique and true to who we are, there is also a sense of working for the greater good of something as well, as a whole, as a completeness. So I'll just quickly show you the wording for that as well, if anybody's interested in reading it or screenshotting it at all. And so we also have the actual tarot reading itself. So the first card is the Two of Wands energy here, which is literally talking about this sense, for me, a kind of, although it's talking about inseparability in that last card, there is within this card a sense of things dividing, a sense of going down one path or the other, a kind of choice in a way, of reaching a kind of crossroads, or a point in our destination here where we're having to make that decision of which road are we going to go down, which path are we going to go down. And it is going to be, sorry, itchy nose, it is going to be different for everyone. And it is also, I feel personally, part of the big dividing energy that is taking place at this time on this planet. How not everybody is seeing things in the same way, and so we're drawn more down one road or down another road according to how we resonate with individual people's energies, how we feel about something or somebody or a situation will depend on which path we take individually, which will also be part of that collective energy as well. Because something else that Aquarian energy talks about is the hive mind as well, which is very interesting, about following or kind of, yeah, that hive mind of everybody, everything having to be the same, everybody having to think the same, everything having to be done the same, a bit like literally like a drone bee worker in a way, which is quite interesting with the Pisces energy as well, that we're kind of moving out of, because that also talks about this kind of following the fish, the shoal of fish, and kind of safety in numbers type of energy. Whereas the Aquarian energy is talking about the need for being your individual, unique, separate self, but also being aware that you are part of the interconnectedness of everything. And that's kind of the tricky part at this time that we're in, because standing up for who you are and actually remaining true to who you are can cause problems, particularly within our friendships, our family dynamics. And Aquarius is about friendships, it's about sociability, it's about social networking, it's also about the future energy, what hasn't yet manifested. And talking of manifestation, this card, which is the challenging, blocking energy at this time, what is holding us back is the Queen of Wands, and this energy is that kind of manifesting energy. The Queen of Wands has the ability to kind of draw to her what she needs, what she wants. It's a very strong, dynamic energy. It is literally like somebody gravitating a bit, literally actually it is reminding me of that kind of queen bee energy, where the drones will gravitate to the queen bee, or the worker bees they all work around that hive and around that queen bee energy. So it's very similar in that sense, because this energy is very strong in kind of that magnetic pull. It's a very attractive energy. It's an energy that wants to do. It's very dynamic. It's fire, it's creativity, it's the sort of energy of how can you put it, the kind of energy where people will stop and take notice. But it's covering this Two of Wands at this time, this kind of crossroads that we're at, this place that we're at the moment. Again, it's more fire, it's more creativity. But with the two, it's something that is yet to be developed. It's yet to come into being. Whereas the Queen energy over the top is kind of saying, almost in a sense of like, don't try and go beyond where you've been already. Don't, like, in the sense of don't try and leap into something that you're not ready to leap into. Don't try and jump the gun or be too, because it's a very enthusiastic energy as well. So don't be over enthusiastic without kind of thinking things through here. Be aware of what you're doing, where you're going, the path you're taking. Again, that sense of like, don't just leap into something here. Because what we have, interestingly, in our heads at this time is the Devil energy. And I do remember doing a recent moon reading where the Devil energy was the very center card. And so it's kind of moved from that central position into what we are kind of more aware of in our heads. Almost like a recognizing of, or a recognition of what we are dealing with, of what we have been dealing with. This Devil energy, this toxic energy, this kind of poison energy, dark energy, and energy of, because if you see here, he's got his helmet right down over his head here as well. So for me, it's a kind of sense of something that's not showing itself as it truly is. It's appearing as one thing when actually it's something completely different. It's also fear as well, facing our fear, our inner fears, our outer fears. But it also has, for me, a really strong connotation of the literally, you know, what the devil represents, the darker side of life, the darker, evil, more sinister side of life that is kind of coming into view, if you like. More people are becoming aware of it, more people are waking up to this. People have been kind of talking about this energy that's in the background, or has been in the background for a long time now. And it's kind of been seen as, you know, people have been a bit crazy and don't trust them, don't listen to them, they don't know what they're talking about. But it's now kind of coming more into the kind of conscious awareness that there could actually be some truth to this. There could actually be this kind of energy that is kind of in the background, or has been in the background, but is now very much coming more, like I was saying, into the forefront for us to see its workings. So there is a sense here of something kind of being illuminated for us, something being kind of shown to us at this time. Again, I don't want to go too much into the astrology, but the full moon is actually in a connection or conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn on one side, because the moon's at 0, 1 degrees in Aquarius. It's still in a connection or a conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn, which is like an outer sign conjunction. And then it's also in a conjunction with Saturn on the other side of her in Aquarius. So it's kind of bringing in the energies of the conjunction that happened at the very beginning of 2020 with Saturn and Pluto, when they met up in January for the first time in the sign of Capricorn for, I think, something ridiculous like 14th century or something, the last time they met up. Can't remember the exact date, but it was like a lot of history was kind of being finalized in a way, shall we say. Like things were like all that history from the last time that they'd met up was a kind of almost coming full circle. So that's what this is kind of feeling like for me. It's kind of like that connection is being like an echo of it. It's like being reactivated. And the energy that we have moving away from us here, where we have been for quite some time now, the Hangman energy here, it's kind of self-explanatory in the sense that we have all been in this state of just like hanging around, not really knowing what's going on, really kind of looking possibly on a deeper level for answers. In many ways it's kind of made some of us, not all of us, but some of us, it's really made us look at things from a higher perspective, from a deeper angle, of wanting to know more. And also the Hangman is about surrender as well, of letting something go, of releasing something. And we've all had to let go and release parts of our lives, our everyday kind of understanding of life, our conditionings, our patterns, the things that we're used to doing day in, day out. So there has been a huge releasing energy, even if we haven't really been aware of it on some level. There has been this need to untangle in a way, is also what I'm seeing here, as the Hangman is kind of tied up to that circle up above here. For some reason, I don't know why I'm getting it. It's one of those spinning things. One of those things that you twist and it kind of spins round and round and round. Is how it's coming through. But almost like it hasn't been able to spin. Almost like a clock stopping in a way. Or something stopping time. Kind of standing still. Because of all these chains, because of all this kind of entanglement. And it kind of is symbolic, I feel, of the past, of like, this is the past, this is what we have all been entangled with and tied up with. And that connection with Saturn and Pluto, as I was saying, which this is kind of that toxic history, that historic energy that we're all having to kind of clear out and let go and release, and also kind of seeing it on a much clearer level in our own individual lives, our generational lives, as well as on a kind of much bigger overall kind of dominating energy, shall we say. Because this can also be seen as Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is very much the establishment, rules, regulations. Authority in general. But there is a kind of, if you look at that helmet and the way that it's down over his face, there is almost this feeling emanating from it of like there's no transparency. You can't see the eyes, you can't see the like the thoughts, if you like, because the eyes can really kind of express how people are feeling. So when you can't see the eyes, there is this kind of cut off of the spiritual, like the soul, because the eyes are said to be the mirror to the soul. So it's almost like that blockage. And they do want to use the word kind of psychopathic as well at this time as well. This kind of psychopathic energy which really doesn't have any good intentions or any good feelings towards the human race in general. Because Aquarius is about the human race. It is about the humanitarian collective energy. And this for me is kind of very much like anti those ideas. Of anything that's kind of good or wholesome or natural or healthy. Is how that's coming through. And underneath it, in our subconscious, we have two cards. We have the Ten of Cups, which is that energy of happiness, of emotional contentment, of just really wanting to I suppose in some ways just to feel like we belong, just to know that we have that inner joy, like family, friends, support, emotionally, which is what most of us on the planet are kind of focused on. It's kind of like the smaller dream, if you like, but it's a dream that's very real is how it's coming through. It's a dream that's real. It's a dream that's very tangible. It's interesting because it's got bees on there as well. I was talking about bees earlier and that kind of Aquarian collective energy. So it's like we have, like, most of us just want to live our lives and just be happy is kind of what it's saying to me. That's really the dream, the ideal. Whereas this energy is kind of much more of a kind of controlling, forceful, overriding energy, which kind of sees all of this as like a sense of a futility, or like very, what's the word, like almost not pointless as such, but like too small, like there's not enough power, I suppose is the word I'm looking for behind this, where this is much more kind of power driven, this energy here. So we are, in our heads, we are all kind of having to face what this energy is about at this time. But in our subconscious, what we just want is this. We just want to kind of be left to get on with our lives and be happy and, like, you know, allow ourselves to experience life in the way that we're supposed to experience life, because the Wheel of Fortune talks about the turning of the wheel, as in experiencing, learning about life, growth through experiences. You only grow, like the wheel only ever turns, if you like, once you reach a point of kind of understanding or realization about something. And it's almost then like you then kind of go on to the next level of growth and understanding. And so this is what's in our subconscious. Almost in a way how this energy here, if you like, this kind of sense of where all these cups are, this kind of archway of cups here, is a completion of that happiness, having reached that point, because it is a 10. So it's kind of saying that that has been a success, we've reached that point. But then the wheel kind of turns again, and as it turns, it kind of takes us on that journey of kind of starting at the bottom again and kind of having to make our way back up to the top. And then, so it also talks on some level about the wheel of karma as well. Like every action having a consequence. And on some level, nobody can escape that. It can't be escaped. It is the universal energy, if you like. It's like one of the universal laws that cannot be ignored or denied. But ultimately, for me, what it is saying is that we just want this happiness. We just want to be happy. We just want to be able to do what we want to do when we need to do it, without kind of having to answer to, like, almost like, you know, the universe is in control. We don't need anything else as a form of control. We don't need anybody else to control and enslave our life or our experiences, because the universe is already there to do that. So the energy that's moving in is the Knight of Swords, which is kind of saying that something is going to start moving quite quickly. There's going to be fast action here. Things are going to change quite suddenly. Knight of Swords can be seen as the messenger, information, data. It's a Gemini type energy. Air energy, it could also be seen as Aquarian energy as well, being air energy. But there's a, if you see that he's holding this sword up here and it's kind of lit up, so it's kind of saying, it's kind of in a way reminded me of these kind of conjunctions that have happened. And another energy that's very important at this time is the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, which took place on the 21st of December in 2020, because we had two powerful conjunctions. We started the year with the powerful conjunction of Saturn and Pluto, and then we went to the end of the year, and in December we had the powerful conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter at the very beginning of Aquarius, which is almost to the same degree where this full moon in Aquarius is taking place as well. So again, it is an activation energy. And the interesting thing about that energy is that Saturn and Jupiter meet up every 20 years, and every 20 years for the last 200 years, apart from once, they met up in earth signs. So that kind of, because it's Saturn that we're dealing with, that kind of heavy, dense energy, that kind of solidified things more and more and more. So history became kind of denser, or our reality, if you like, became denser and denser, and the kind of truth behind how things actually are became more hidden, more kind of like yeah, I'd say hidden, kind of kept hidden from us, quite possibly on purpose, because knowledge is power. And now we're kind of waking up to a new reality. So again, it's this kind of sense of truth from Jupiter. And so from now on, the new cycle for the next 200 years, Jupiter and Saturn are going to meet up in air signs only, which is kind of going to take us out of that denseness, out of that heavy solidness of our reality, into more of a sense of understanding that everything is frequency, everything is vibration, which is very much what the Aquarian energy is about. And also what I feel this energy here is about in some ways as well, this kind of manifestation energy, and that the two are linked together somehow. But it is our blocking energy, so it's almost like something that we need to kind of wake up to, or come to realize our power. Shall I? That's what's kind of coming, actually just come through, is our sense of power in it all, because this is our creativity, our passion. So it's almost like, where is that going to take us? Where is our individual passion going to take us? Which road is it going to take us down? for me, I'm kind of seeing this as kind of that standing up for our own uniqueness as well, that blocked energy. So another interesting thing about the colouring of this card in particular as well, and this card with its oranges and yellows and reds is very kind of grounded, rooted energy in a way, the lower chakra energies here, whereas this card has more of the higher kind of the throat chakra to the third eye chakra and the purple of the crown chakra as well, which is also that truth element as well on some level. Like activation. It does feel like an activation, like something being activated within us, within each of us, which is going to spur action. It's going to spur us into kind of taking action. And not just kind of hanging around in this energy waiting anymore. It's like, this is finished, this is done. We're done with this hanging in limbo energy, waiting to be told what we can and can't do, if you like, by this energy up here. It feels like this is about kind of taking that power back, taking control, deciding which path we're going to go down rather than being told which path we should be walking down. So we have the Page of Cups underneath, well, I say underneath, in that kind of where we are now, the energy that is around us at this time. The Page of Cups is, for me, a healing energy, a young page, young energy. It could be to do with children, which is very relevant at this time. And how children are being affected by all of this. But it also feels quite strongly like a healing process that is taking place. And we do actually have Chiron, who is sextile to the Saturn energy in Aquarius at this time as well. And that is a long, ongoing connection that they will be making right the way throughout this year, because Chiron's just gone retrograde. So, and this is kind of coming through as that Chiron energy of that healing process, of healing something that is like wounded, a wounding, a deep wounding that needs to be taken care of and looked after and nurtured in a kind of how can I put it, like very, it's almost like a subtle energy. The Page of Cups, there's a subtlety about it. There's a real kind of gentleness about this energy. It's almost like kind of saying we need to collectively take care of our woundings, our parts of ourselves that we may not be too or we haven't been gentle with in the past. There is like this new energy being born from this period of time that we're going through. In general, there is like this new energy coming in, not just from the Aquarian full moon, but we are moving into more of an Aquarian energy in general anyway. So it's kind of healing that past, is kind of how it feels. It's like healing something deeply wounded from our past history, like generational history as well, because Chiron deals with the generational history, family history. And for those who believe in reincarnation as well, it can be part of that process of reincarnating and healing wounds that are still within our psyche. So then we have two interesting cards together in our environment. We have the Magician in reverse, and we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. So the Magician is, again, that kind of Aquarian energy of manifestation. And when it's in reverse, for me, it's kind of saying that, I mean, we are manifesting all the time, and we always have been. But because we don't realise that, because we haven't been given that information, because we haven't been told that our emotions, which is also this energy here, emotional energy, that our emotions are kind of driving our life, our story, our history, well, our lives in general, that our emotions are what affect us, the energy that we put out, the frequency that we're putting out into the universe, for the universe to pick it up and to bring it back to us. Because that has never really been taught on a kind of mass learning level. There's always been this confusion. We've all kind of been creating from this place of just not knowing, I suppose, on some level, that is how life is, that is how it works, that is what we are doing all the time, constantly. But with this Nine of Wands here as well, it's kind of this energy of like, it's been really hard work getting to this point. It's been really difficult for us to, because we've been creating so much with our kind of more physical form, shall we say, rather than our emotional awareness of being aware that of that action, that is what we are doing, but it's been very exhausting. We've reached this point of kind of complete exhaustion here. Literally, he's on his knees. And it's this feeling of like not being able to go forward. And there's also this sense as well that because we haven't known about this, because this has been kind of kept hidden, it is in the, I suppose, the old, I don't like using the word magic as such, because that always conjures up kind of images, for me, it conjures up images of like magicians who kind of like, you know, sleight of hands and that kind of thing, rather than real magic, which is kind of working with all of those elements of understanding the balance and the importance of all the different elements. Like if I turn it upside down, you can see the cup there. which is also here within this page as well. The cup, the sword, the wand, the pentacle at the bottom, and each of them relate to the elements themselves. So the cup is the water, the sword is the mind, the thought, the rod is the creative passion and drive, and the pentacle is the kind of physical reality in which it all manifests, in which we see it actually taking place. And if you see here as well behind him, he's got like this light which is kind of connecting and coming down. So he knows that he's working with something like a higher energy. He understands that it's all kind of already manifested somewhere on a vibrational level elsewhere, and that by working with all of his elements within him, he can bring it into reality. But because we haven't understood that, what we have been doing for so long has just been exhausting us, because we've been trying to create in a very physical way. Almost like trying to force things to happen. Rather than understanding that kind of flow of how that manifestation works. Anyway, moving on, we have in our hopes and fears the Six of Swords, which is implying a sense of wanting to move away from the energy that we've been in, from the kind of turmoil, that sense of difficulty, of things being difficult for us, around us. But when the boat is, for me, when the Six of Wands is in reverse, sorry, the Six of Swords is in reverse, it's kind of saying that as of yet we haven't, because it is a hope and fear as well rather than actuality. It's kind of almost like just still standing on the side of this riverbank, not actually having got into the boat even yet. There's still this sense of like the boat is there, it's waiting for us, but we haven't actually climbed in to kind of try and leave the shore. So we're still kind of on that shore, if you like. And then we have the Star in reverse, which is talking about kind of a sense of giving up on something, giving up on our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations, almost like a sense of pointlessness. It's interesting as well because I get kind of familiar feeling with these two cards, with the Wheel of Fortune and the Star, because of the kind of clockwork, almost clockwork kind of, because the Star is also destiny as well. It also talks about our destiny, but when it's in reverse, it's kind of saying that it could feel at this time our destiny is not really our destiny doesn't really feel as though we are in control of it, like we are going down that right path, or have we chosen that right path, or at this time are we in the process of choosing that right path. But of course with the boat here as well, and our hopes and our fears, it's kind of saying no, at this time we haven't. At this time we're still kind of standing, debating, hoping. And you've got the moon here as well, which is interesting because it is a full moon. in the background there. And the star, again, of course, is seen as the Aquarian energy as well, that water-bearing energy where she's pouring the water out, the water of life. Something that we all need, something that we all come from, something again that has that kind of interconnectedness and that sense of destiny, because it is that sense of collectively we all need water to keep us alive, if you like, and water again relates to the emotions. But we also have with this card, these two cards, the Three of Wands, and it's the only one out of the three of them that is actually upright as well. So that's interesting, because literally it is standing on that shore here, as I was saying, with this Six of Swords, of kind of standing, not actually having got in the boat. That's kind of where we are, if you like. The Three of Wands can be seen as our boats coming in and being patient and waiting for the right thing to come along after the Three of Wands, sorry, the Two of Wands, which of course we have here. And he's got those two of rods behind him as well, so it's kind of a sense of turning his back to this energy here. And looking into the future. Like making a new decision with that one rod that he's holding in his hand there. He's still got that one rod. So it's like there's a new... The boat for me always represents life as well, so it's like a new journey. And it's almost like we know on some level that we can't go back down the same path because things have changed. Or at least that's what we're hoping. On some level it is about hopes and fears. But we also have the Two of Swords here to finish the reading on. So again, twos, which can represent decisions. Again, duality, or that sense of which direction, which decision. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Is this the right thing to do? Is it not the right thing to do? So it is choice, it is decision, it is saying that something needs to be like I suppose collectively there are decisions here that need to be made by each of us individually, which is going to have an effect on the collective. The moon again is behind these swords here, and the more I see swords at the moment, the more they remind me of the kind of medical procedure, shall we say, that is sweeping around the world. And because it's in reverse, there could also be that sense of almost like not having that choice, of that choice being taken out of our hands. She's blindfolded as well. So it can also talk about kind of blind faith, of following again, that kind of collective energy, that because everybody else is doing it, I should do it too kind of energy, that collective thought energy, which is again very Aquarian, which is interesting because the Aquarian energy is also very much about the individual. But it's about whether or not we have the strength to stand up and be that individual, or whether we think it's much easier to just fit in with everything else because it's more convenient. It makes more sense perhaps to us. But there's also a sense as well with the Two of Swords in reverse that once the decision has been made, you can't unmake it. So we do need to be careful when it comes to blind faith and just following the crowd or the collective energy. Again, it's almost that feeling of division, of like some people will decide to go down one path and some people will decide to go down the other path due to their beliefs and their decisions. And possibly also with this Ten of Cups as well, that kind of just wanting to return to some kind of normality, normal life, things just being how they were. But the Wheel of Fortune is also saying that that's not possible, that once the Wheel of Fortune turns in such a huge way as well, when it comes to kind of shifting of energies, then it is literally like the whole energy changes, the whole dynamic changes, everything about the period of time we're living in. It's like we no longer live as people lived 200 years ago in that same respect, you know. It's like things shift, things change, and you can't kind of go back into that period of history because people thought differently, because they didn't have the same kind of environment that we're living in today. You didn't have things like televisions and mobile phones, and none of that was even a concept at that time. So it's like the wheel shifts and everything changes, and you can't just go back to living that kind of idyllic, if you like, idyllic lifestyle, because things have changed on a big, deep level, even if we're not aware of it as yet, because it is the subconscious realm of things that are not necessarily seen. So we have the Two of Cups, we have the Nine of Wands again, and we have the Seven of Wands. Again, the Two of Cups is kind of speaking to me of that, it's in reverse, all of these are in reverse, But it's kind of speaking to me about that sense of life, choices, Two of Cups usually speaks of a connection with somebody, a relationship, somebody who we want to have a connection with or already have a connection with, but on this, at this particular level, it feels more like it's to do with a relationship that we have with ourselves. Because it's coming through in a sense of it being, as I was talking about earlier, that kind of positive and negative, masculine, feminine side of our own nature. And also, of course, you know, relationships are no longer as easy as they once used to be on that level as well. But everything has changed there as well. The idea of just meeting somebody and just spending time with them and getting to know them. There's all these outside problems that weren't there previously. It could also talk as well, because it's in reverse, it could also talk about relationships that are not going to stand the kind of passage of time, if you like, because again, going along with this Two of Wands energy of kind of splitting pathways, like some people in a relationship will go down one path and somebody else will go down another path, and it will be kind of like a natural occurrence. Nine of Wands again. We've got the Nine of Wands here as well, so that's twice. So the nine, again, it is that kind of long lasting suffering, particularly when it's in reverse. It's kind of saying that almost got to the 10 where you can kind of drop the burdens and the heaviness of it all, but we're not there. We're not at that point. We're still carrying that all those burdens, all that heaviness, particularly around the idea of relationships and kind of parting, people going their separate ways and doing their own thing. Because we also have the Seven of Wands here as well, in reverse. Which is the card of kind of standing up for your beliefs and your what you think is right for you. If you see the card here, it's kind of like this figure trying to leap from one post to another post to get to safety, to get to the shoreline. Without falling in. So there's a sense of kind of a lot of hard work, a lot of kind of like almost like, is it worth it? Like there's a lot of kind of overstretching and kind of maneuvering and almost like, you know, when it comes to relationships in that sense, it's like, what do you have to give up that may go against your integral self as well, and ultimately lead to this feeling of kind of carrying this burden rather than this happiness as it should be. Of course, the Aquarian energy is also about freedom, as it's ruled by Uranus. It's also a freedom-loving energy. And there is strong drive of freedom and wanting to go your own way and do your own thing at this time. And over the top of the Devil energy, we have the High Priestess and we have the Eight of Swords in reverse. So the Devil energy and the High Priestess are very interesting because one is very masculine and one is very feminine. One talks to me about much more to do with that inner intuitive world, the feminine knowing world. Being in tune with things. There's also an interesting thing coming up here as well about the patriarchal system and the matriarchal, and how the patriarchal kind of overrode the more gentle matriarchal family line, if you like, or the family system, by sheer force and kind of brutality. Because we also have the Eight of Swords here as well, which is coming through as this energy of being trapped, like trapping this energy, this High Priestess energy, trapping it behind all these bars here, these swords. Kind of subduing it, trapping it, making it a prisoner. And even now, it's still, even though there's this whole idea of feminism and kind of like, you know, to be a feminist, you have to be very masculine, which for me kind of goes against the whole idea of being a feminine woman, because being a woman for me is not about being a man. It's like, that's not what being a woman is about. That's not equality at all. Equality is about the female qualities, if you like, and what women naturally do, as being seen as of value and importance, i.e. the fact that we give birth, the fact that we grow life inside us, and that is a natural process. If you come through as a female, you have the potential most of the time to be able to do that. Admittedly, not every woman can do that or wants to do that, but that potential is there and always has been as the female gender. So the idea, if you like, for me personally, I see this energy here as being partly the reason that the female energy, or qualities if you like, have been undermined, undervalued, denied, suppressed, ignored, lied about, burnt. I mean, it's like, how far do you want to go? And even today, it's still happening. You know, it's still on some level. There is still an imbalance here. There is still, this energy is still trapped, is how it feels to me. The intuitive, knowing connection, that women have still isn't really given its place in a role in society like it once was. Like the high priestess would have been somebody, or the priestesses would have been somebody who you would go and see for to seek out for information. But again, it kind of like the church and the masculine idea of that took over. So we have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Four of Wands in reverse over the top of this Hanging Man energy. And this kind of hanging in limbo. So the Eight of Pentacles is interesting because it's kind of saying that we have been in this place of stagnation. We have been in this place of lack of growth. And if you think about what we've all had to go through, you know, whether that has been financially or work-wise or emotionally or mentally, it's like this energy has been blocked. The Eight of Pentacles and the Four of Wands as well. So the Four of Wands, for me, the Four of Wands is stability on some level. Again, when it's in reverse, it's talking about a state of instability, of things not being grounded. sense of, it's interesting it's the 8 and the 4, because they are both kind of quite solid numbers, 8 being fate and 4, I'm saying kind of stability, strength, but not when it's in reverse. It's this sense of stagnation, things not. That's too many. Oh, maybe not. Still 3 cards. Okay, so we have death, we have the Ace of Cups, and we have the 8 of Wands. And this is the subconscious, this is the deeper realm. What we're not so aware of is the fact that we are all going through this transformation at this time. There is a deeper there is a deeper death going on within us, and a rebirth into this new, again, frequency, vibration. The white rose kind of represents this frequency energy for me, this kind of higher vibration, opening up into something new, like blooming into a new version of ourselves. And the old, like, is dead, like it's done, it's had its time, it's no longer, like I was saying, like, you know, once something shifts, once that wheel turns, you can't go back energy-wise to how things have been. You can only go forward. You can only ever go forward. It's the same as when they talk about health and going back to how you were. You can't ever go back. Whether it's health-wise or anything else, you can only ever move forward into a new version. So that's what that is saying to me. And with the Ace of Cups here as well, the Ace of Chalices, as it is in this card, it's very much talking about this new love, this new us, really, this new spiritual awakening, understanding. And it's very beautiful because it has the moon there and all this cascading kind of crystalline water that is falling down, that's being reflected in that moonlight, in that very kind of Aquarian, if you like, moonlight. And again, it's kind of coming through as that collective frequency energy as it pours down. And I spoke about this before as well, how like all the frequencies are changing, so everybody's kind of shifting up. So those that are kind of at the pinnacle here have kind of come from a level down here, shall we say, and they're now moving. So everybody's kind of shifting up a level, and that's how I kind of see this energy here, is us all kind of moving into this new level of awareness and light, because there is a lot of light being shone in that card as well. It's very much coming through with this kind of new frequency, new vibrational, like really sparkling kind of energy, very refreshing. And it's all part of this death and rebirth and growth and transformation. I'm getting a very strong kind of spiritual energy from this as well. Like a completely new understanding of a spiritual connected energy is really how it's coming through. It's like a new spiritual awakening. And the Eight of Wands is very like new information, new ideas that are going to grow out of this. is also how I'm seeing this card. Because Eight of Wands can be to do with messages and action happening, things taking place, changes. But that's beautiful energy, and it's taking place within us as well. So it's taking place on a deep subconscious level, which we are really kind of not even aware that it is happening. It's almost like this is the root of it all, if you like, of all this suffering that we're going through and have been going through. The Page of Wands has come out over the Knight of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Wands is in reverse. Again, pages are a young energy, an energy that needs to grow, experience, particularly wands. They want to experience life. They want to be able to, but this, again, it has a kind of sense of this Queen of Wands energy, as I was saying earlier, about kind of leaping ahead of ourselves. Of not leaping ahead, not allowing ourselves to make conclusions almost before because it's interesting how it's coming through. It's coming through as being kind of tied to this post here. You can see this, it looks like a post, but there's actually this, if I turn it out that way you can see it slightly better. It's like a whip of energy that's circling around, and there is this figure here, this person here, who is being kind of lassoed in a way by all of this very fiery, electric, it actually feels more electric than fiery kind of energy, but it's in reverse, and it almost feels as though he's being kind of like held back by this energy here, which is attached to this post. So that's how it's kind of coming through, and it's come out with this Knight of Swords as well, which was about this leaping forward, or this new fast quick movement forward, to do with new information and truth being seen, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. But then with the Page of Wands, it almost feels as well as though something is holding us back, or tying us down. And stopping us from being able to I'll put another card on that. Why is the Page of Wands here with the Knight of Swords? Please, source energy. Okay, we have the Hierophant and the Five of Pentacles in reverse. The Hierophant's interesting because it actually came out earlier while I was shuffling the cards, so I did actually have a quick look at it. And this energy here, or not this energy, but this here reminds me of the energy here, or the picture, this rose here. There's a similarity between those two. But what these are actually scrolls that are being held by the Hierophant energy here. The Hierophant is in the shape of a bull, which is kind of similar to this devil energy here as well, in a way, with these horns. But this is kind of more the darker side, I would say. Again, Hierophant, I mean, it is very patriarchal, masculine kind of energy, the Hierophant, and it is the kind of balancing energy of the High Priestess as well. And I think it represents the Taurus energy, because everybody always goes, oh, the Hierophant, it's Taurus. Even though I'm not quite sure if that's true, but that's just my personal opinion. But right in the very centre of the bull, because there's his horns and you can actually see his face, but in the very centre is what I am taking to be the star Aldebaran, which is a very powerful fixed star. And at this time I can't remember that much about it. I wish I could remember more about it. But I know it's one of the 4 stars, like the royal star. It's known as one of the 4 royal stars. But it's also third eye as well, so it's coming through like an activated point, or an activating energy. Again, possibly awakening something. But these scrolls are also coming through as kind of that hidden knowledge. Things that are yet to be revealed to us, things that we have yet to understand or realize, because we haven't been given all of the information. Hierophant can also be to do with faith. And he also holds a key here as well. In his hand. There is a key just down there. If you can see that very well. That is actually a key. But yeah, so it's kind of like unlocking the wisdom, or unlocking the knowledge, the kind of things that have been hidden from us. My hair just stuck my glasses on my head and my hair's gone all haywire. So it's kind of talking about, yeah, see, again, it's come out with this Knight of Swords as well. So for me, it is talking about this hidden knowledge, this something that is yet to be revealed to us, that is of a higher learning, a higher understanding. Again, to do with raising our vibration, raising our frequency, because of this kind of activating of this third eye energy as well. And this energy here could also be seen as this kind of Kundalini energy. Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius, also rules over Kundalini energy, that kind of snake energy that's said to go up the spine when you do certain practices or activate the chakra system, the Kundalini energy. And that's kind of what it's reminding me of. And maybe that's what that post is as well, in a way, is this kind of the spine itself with this energy kind of snaking upwards. It also feels like there could be like for some people it's going to be quite a shocking process that's coming, because some people are already kind of awake and aware. I wouldn't say that like completely third eye activated, aware and awake, but some people are definitely on different levels of knowledge and understanding and being able to see through things and understand on a much deeper level what's going on than others. And so for some people, learning what is really happening, like the truth behind it all, is going to be much more of a shocking experience, shall we say, than it is going to be for others. And we also have the Five of Pentacles with this energy as well. So for some people, literally, it feels as though it's going to kind of throw them it's going to kind of throw some people really off balance, really kind of like because the Five of Pentacles talks about being like left out in the cold of, and like often it's depicted like somebody in front of a church and the windows lit up behind and they're kind of like on the outside, and you've got the Hierophant there, which is that kind of religious, faith orientated energy. So for some people it could just be that this whole how can I put it, this whole I keep getting the word indoctrination. I don't particularly want to use the word indoctrination, but it is like conditioning. Conditioning, I suppose indoctrination is also another way of putting it. That what is coming, what is going to be revealed in the future, is going to shock and awaken, but also for some people it's going to leave them feeling like they are outsiders. Almost like a twist, almost like a kind of twist of fate in a way, of where the people who were the outsiders are no longer going to be the outsiders, and those that have been the or haven't been the outsiders are going to feel more like they don't fit in anymore, is how it's coming through here. And the Five of Pentacles was upside down as well. And almost like a sense of those who were really sure of what they believed in. Are somehow going to be dependent in a way on those, on the good nature, shall we say, of those who have been more aware for some time of what is actually the reality. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of shock for some people. Some people aren't going to be ready for it at all. Particularly those who have kind of I'm getting kind of, what's the word, like tied their colours, or whatever you like to call it, to the mast or something, is how it's also coming through. Not quite getting what that is that I'm being told, but like those who nail their colours to the mast or something. Colours, flag, that kind of energy. Those who are really, really certain, really, really sure of how things are, and that everybody else around them doesn't have a clue. Everybody else is a bit insane, to put it mildly, and doesn't really know what they're talking about, are the ones that are going to find it the hardest with everything that is going to be coming in over the next few months or so, up until the end of the year at least. So with the with the Page of Pentacles, we have the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles is an energy of like history, like remembering, like memories, like a trip down memory lane. And because it's come out with this Page of Pentacles as well, the Page of Cups, which I was saying earlier, is that energy of healing something on a deeper level, generational level as well. Because it's in reverse as well, because the Six of Pentacles is in reverse, it could be something that is going to be quite painful, that is going to involve memories, losses, possibly also a kind of yearning for how things have been in the past. about reciprocal energy, giving and taking, but it's also about healing. But it feels more to do with healing of childhood history, childhood stories, childhood memories. As I was saying, Chiron is also, well, Chiron is in Aries as well, and Aries is the childhood energy. And Chiron is sextile to Saturn. Which is our conditioning. So we have the Sun and the Knight of Wands. The Sun is upright, the Knight of Wands is in reverse. So I'm going to put them over the top of these two cards as they came out. So the Sun is over the top of the Magician, and the Knight of Wands is over the top of the Nine of Wands. So that's a beautiful combination in many ways, because the Sun here is talking about bringing in some clarity and some understanding on a collective level, because the Sun is the collective energy. Which kind of pours out, the Sun pours out its life force onto the planet. It's the Sun that kind of keeps us alive, keeps everything growing. But I also feel it as this kind of energies I was talking about before as well, this kind of higher connection to something, which is literally kind of, it feels like something like bleeding through in a way. Like all these colours, all these, almost like a curtain, or like a, yeah, like a curtain or a veil. There's a real kind of creativity within this card as well, but it feels as though it is that kind of a realization of we have that potential to be this magician, to manifest. This is who we are. And we're going to understand it, realize it, start working with it, start creating with it. Yeah, it literally feels like that kind of like something bleeding through into this new reality is kind of how it's coming down. It's like this veil of information. Again, frequency, understanding, clarity, insight, being aware of how things actually are as opposed to how we've been told. And then we have the Knight of Wands over the top of the Nine of Wands. Again, the Knight is in reverse, so again, it's that same Kundalini energy, that same electrical force, which is kind of, whereas before in the, let me find it, where are we? Okay, so before in the Page of Wands, it was only kind of slightly wrapping him up in it. Down there, he wasn't kind of completely caught up in that energy. You can see that figure. I don't know if you can see it very well. There's his legs there, and there's his head down here. And his arms are kind of... well, there's one arm here, and the other one's over here. But he's not completely wrapped up in that energy like he is here. You can see him here, he's a lot more kind of wrapped in it, like it's really electrifying him in some way. And with the Nine of Wands here, which is that kind of long-lasting suffering energy of things just being really hard work, difficulties, not being able to see the end of the struggle. And then the Knight of Wands. Again, it's just, I kind of get this same sense of this electrifying energy, this shocking energy, something that is going to kind of wake people up. Again, very kind of Uranian energy. Almost like there's no escape now. There's no escape. You can't ignore it. Like it's completely becoming a part of who we are. But it's interesting as well because it's almost like at the same time these clouds in the background here, these kind of swirling red clouds on some level kind of look like some kind of like angel being, some kind of guardian being. It's kind of waking up, that is part of this process, that is waking us up to the fact that it is actually upside down, but part, you know, that there is so much more than just this hard work, than just this kind of difficult, struggling life that we've all lived for so long. And this Knight of Wands energy is kind of trying to wake us up to this, or is going to wake us up to this. So let's see what we have in our hopes and our fears. We have two cards. One's the Knight of Swords and one is Judgment. So the Knight of Swords comes through as this sense of battling with something that is bigger than we are. Something that's scary, it's got sharp pointy teeth, and we're kind of right on the edge of this precipice here. And so there is a sense of kind of danger involved in this card. And again, it kind of reminds me of this energy. Almost like the enemy is showing itself, but it's already pushed us right to the edge of this precipice before we actually realise it. Again, it's a hope and a fear, rather than an actuality. But then we also have Judgment. Which is literally, I mean, it is what the word is, isn't it? Judgment. It is literally kind of saying that this is the time for this is the time. It's like there's no escape. It's like something is coming through that door. It's almost a sense of like a timeline. Shifting in a way. Like with being on the edge of this precipice, like this danger point, and almost like something from without, from another dimension. But something that we have no control over is what the Judgment card in many ways says. It's like a calling, it's like hearing, it's something beyond our control. But it also feels like something that is kind of sweeping out, again, sweeping out the old and bringing in the new. Almost like reaching this point, where we reach this point where we feel that we're very much on this edge here and that we don't have maybe a lot of choice. Again, hope and fears. So it's not an actuality, it is just the hope and the fear element here. Maybe it's that sense of something will kind of step forward and kind of save us from what we're battling with here. It kind of feels like something that has shown its hand or shown itself. kind of overwhelming. Of course, that's the Knight of Swords twice as well, because we got the Knight of Swords earlier, but that's a very different energy as well with that Knight of Swords. And so over the top of the Two of Swords, we have the Queen of Wands again. So she came out originally as a blockage energy at the beginning of the reading, and we're finishing with the Queen of Wands. But it is in reverse. She is in reverse. So there is still this kind of sense of kind of a blockage or something that we're needing to recognize or deal with. Again, that sense of kind of magnetism, or but it feels like lack of confidence is how it's coming through, like lack of confidence in ourselves. Well, that's interesting as well. If you put those two cards together, you get this kind of continuation from this sword here through to here, which I didn't do deliberately. It just kind of happened. Even with the blue as well and the red, there seems to be this continuing way of flowing there, which is interesting. So yeah, she feels like a lack of confidence. Again, this kind of shocking energy as well. Very creative energy. But not when she's in reversed. When she's reversed, it feels like a blockage. And it feels like a blockage of our confidence on the whole. To be able to make possibly the right decision, or good decisions, or decisions that we're happy with, or yeah, that feel right to us. I'm just going to pull another one for that as well. Over the top of that Two of Swords, which is also kind of blindfolded, and again it's kind of getting similar kind of energy from this Queen of Wands, where she's not being able to see what's happening around her. It's almost like her hair is kind of whipped around her face. Almost like either that she wants to stay hidden, or that she's unable to see clearly. She's unable to. So once again, it's that kind of sense of blind trust or blind faith in something. Which may not be for our benefit. We do have the King of Pentacles, which is similar to the Hierophant energy, with the King of Pentacles riding in on a bull there, the Taurus energy. Pentacles, Earth. I always see this as a very strong, very victorious card. And very much the kind of opposite of this energy. Because here it's like she doesn't want to be seen, but here he's very much like, look at me, look what I can do, look how amazing I am, look what I've achieved, look how much confidence I do have in myself. Coming through as well with these Two of Swords as being like both sides of one sword or the other sword, again that kind of pathway. Different aspects of our personalities, one or different aspects of our one I feel is needing to be guided more, or is more likely to make decisions or choose decisions that are made for them because they don't trust their ability to make the right decision. And other much kind of stronger energy here of somebody who, well, literally would not allow anybody to make that decision for them. So he's very much in control of their environment and their life, their body, because it is also earth energy, which relates to the body as well. So it feels like, again, that kind of dividing energy, which this Two of Wands is bringing in as well, which we started off with earlier, along with this other Queen of Wands here, which is that blocking energy. So on some level, like this one feels like overconfident and making kind of overconfident moves, whereas this one feels as though there isn't enough confidence in order to be able to make those moves. So that's interesting. But that's kind of how I'm seeing this energy as well, along with this Two of Swords. Yeah, Two of Swords energy here. So twos are always about decisions, in that sense of one thing or another. Which is where we're heading. We're heading to that place during this Aquarius full moon energy, which will last for the next 2 weeks up until the new moon. And then we have another Aquarius full moon at the end of July, not July, sorry, at the end of August, the 29th of August I think it is. We have another I could be wrong with the date there. It could be on the 29 degrees that I'm thinking. Maybe it's 29 degrees it's happening in Aquarius, because I know that we have 2 full moons this coming season, which is of course a rare event, a blue moon. That often. So let's see what the Keepers of the Light would like to offer us as some guidance. taking place at this time for us, please? Keepers of the light, source energy. Almost. Oh, there we go. I'll take that one. And we have Mother Mary, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. Which is interesting because I did speak about the whole female energy thing earlier. So let's see what Mother Peace is wanting to say here. I did feel a quite strong female mother energy in particular, because I was talking about how it's females who always have the children, give birth. So Mary, the mother of Jesus, is one of the best loved saints, masters and guides of the world. Although she has a huge part to play in the Catholic faith, she can bring faith, peace and love to anyone who calls on her. She is the saint of the people. She works directly with the angels of peace to bring healing to the world, particularly where there is conflict, and is dedicated to supporting children and mothers. She is the spiritual embodiment of unconditional love and acceptance. It is time to let go of conflict or the need to be right. The more you fight for the point you want to prove, the unhappier you will be. Pointing out the mistakes or mishaps of others just blocks the road to love in your own life. Mary, the Divine Mother, Mary, the Divine Mother of Acceptance, is with you now, encouraging you to forgive. Forgiveness is not about letting anyone get away with their bad choices, but about choosing to create your own happiness. Mother Mary also brings healing to you and your mother. If you miss her, are out of contact with her, or have an old trauma that needs healing, know that Mary's miraculous light is here now to wash away the darkness. That's a very interesting card. Because I do feel that there is a big patriarchal healing that is taking place at this time. So I'm going to leave the reading there. I was going to pull a crystal healing card, but it's gone past 2 hours, so it's going to take a while to upload this as it is. It has been a long reading. I have gone into quite some detail on some of it. So I'm going to leave it there and say that I hope that you have found it of some interest, or that you have got something from it, maybe learnt something from it. If you have, please could you thumbs it up for me, because it makes a huge difference to my channel, just getting those likes. It's not, or it doesn't seem like a really big deal, but it is a huge deal. So if you can just tap on that thumb, then that will really, really help my channel to grow. Also, if you haven't subscribed, could you please do that as well? Thank you very much to those of you who have subscribed, and also to those of you who do like my videos. I really do appreciate it. And so also, if you do subscribe, there will be that little bell thing that comes up and tells you as and when my videos will go out live, or not live, but out onto my channel, if you're interested in knowing when I'm putting them out there. I do all the zodiac signs, the sun signs, I do the full moon and the new moon, both the tarot reading and the astrology for them as well. And like I said, there will be the astrology part to go along with this also. And so if you feel like sharing it, please do so as well, because that will help to grow my channel as well. And if anybody you know who you think might benefit on some level, feel free to send that to them. And thank you also very much for those of you who do share my videos. Again, I do really appreciate it. And that's about it, I think. I'm sure there's probably something else. If you feel like commenting at all, then please feel free to do that as well. It's nice to get some feedback and to know that what I'm putting out there, people are actually kind of taking some notice of it. Maybe either do like it or don't like it. I don't really mind. Just knowing that somebody is listening to it on some level and actually wants to interact and let me know how they feel about it would be very nice to have some comments. So if you want to do that as well, feel free. And so I am going to leave it there and say I hope you have a wonderful Aquarius, or have had a wonderful Aquarius full moon. It is going to be ongoing for the next 2 weeks, so there is still plenty more Aquarius full moon energy to come. And if you are interested, please listen to my astrology reading for more in-depth understanding of what is actually taking place in the heavens at this time. So I'm going to leave it there, wish you all the best, and say thank you again. Hopefully see you again soon.